Well, Ted, you look ready to play in one of those other RPGs.
Nope, man, it's all D&D all the time.
Yeah, but you look like you're ready to dive into a steampunk role-playing game.
Nah, it's Arcana Punk.
Arcana Punk? What are you talking about?
Eberron, Dave. Eberron.
Okay, Ted, let's talk about Exploring Eberron, the Artificer subclasses. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds, I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and as usual, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Hey, you want to see that YouTube feed infused with D&D content? Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And if it's more Nerdarchy videos you're after, you want to make sure you attune to that notification bell.
Alright, we're diving back into the Explorer's Guide to Eberron. Or I should say, Exploring Eberron. No guide in there whatsoever. But you can find that over on the DM's Guild. Also on the DM's Guild, you can find stuff that Nerdarchy makes and throws up over there. Most of it is pay what you want. There will be links down in the description so you can get your own Exploring Eberron. They have the print on demand, or you can get the PDF. So far, we've been diving into it and we're enjoying it a lot, and we highly recommend that you at least give it a look as well.
All right, so Exploring Eberron, it's a great book. We've really been enjoying it. It's a pretty decent amount of a book here. We've been going through the subclasses, giving you guys some previews on what that is and what that's about. So specifically today, we're going to go into the subclasses for the Artificer, and we've got a few to look at. So we're going to start off with the Forge Adept. The Dashur Artificers of the Dakani Empire were the finest weaponsmiths in Corvair's history, as discussed in Chapter 4 of the book. As a Forge Adept, you carry on these ancient traditions, creating mystical weapons and armor, strengthening allies on the battlefield, and bringing down enemies with weapons imbued with your own soul energy. If you're Dar, you learn these techniques from masters of your clan. Are you content to allow ancient traditions, or do you want to add your own innovations? If you're not Dakani, did you learn these techniques from a Dashur mentor? Did you steal the knowledge, or are you replicating these traditions on your own? When you adopt this specialization at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with smith's tools. If you already have this proficiency, you gain a proficiency with one other type of artisan's tools of your choice.
So then we have Forge Adept spells, which, basically as you level up 3rd level, you're going to get Armor of Agathis, Shield of Faith.
You're going to get Spiritual Weapon and Warding Bond at 5th.
9th level, Beacon of Hope, Remove Curse.
13th level, Death Ward and Fire Shield.
17th level, Brandishing Smite and Wall of Force. So you get some really good options for spells there. So far, I'm digging it. Next up, we have Battle Ready at 3rd level. Beginning at 3rd level, you're skilled in fighting side by side with your companions on the field of battle. You gain proficiency with martial weapons. Additionally, when you attack with a magic weapon, you can use your intelligence modifier instead of your strength or dexterity for the attack and damage rolls.
So a lot that you're getting access to at 3rd level, proficient with all weapons, getting access to another tool set, which is super common for artificers. They get loads of tools. It's just how it works. Getting access to already prepared spells, super helpful. So far, this is a really cool class, but we're not done with what you get at 3rd level. You also get the Gaelsha Art. At 3rd level, you learn to imbue a weapon with a fraction of your spirit. The Dakani Dashurs called this weapon the Gaelsha Art, Goblin for Mighty Blade. Imbuing your Gaelsha Art works like infusing an item, but doesn't count towards your maximum number of infused items. When you finish a long rest, you can touch a magic or non-magic simple or martial melee weapon, which becomes your Gaelsha Art. Once imbued, it is a magic weapon that grants a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls unless the base weapon you imbued with already gains a higher bonus. This bonus increases when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to +2 at 8th level and +3 at 13th. If the weapon you imbued has the thrown property, it returns to your hand immediately after it's used to make a ranged attack. Your Gaelsha Art benefits remain until the weapon is destroyed or until you use this ability to imbue a new item with this power. Other creatures can't benefit from your weapon's powers, and to them it functions like an unimbued weapon normally would.
Which, I mean, this is super cool, super thematic. I love the fact that if it has the thrown property, it returns to your hand. So, basically you get the Mjolnir thing going on, or the Dwarven Thrower thing. Super classic, super cool. Goblins use spears pretty often. It's a staple weapon for them. So having that spear be able to throw it, come back to you, throw it again, nice.
So when I see this, it harkens to the Forge domain, the Cleric domain Forge. Granting that, Soul of the Forge, you can imbue an item once a day, but there it requires, the 1-up every day. It doesn't gain in any significant power. So I kind of like this one better because it grows in power. It grants that, that extra property of, what happens if you throw it. And it makes that item mean something more to you. So I'm definitely digging on this. And I'm just wondering if, it is too much that they're getting at 3rd level, and, seeing if somebody is going to, level dip just for some of these abilities.
Well, I mean, it is a +1 weapon, but only you can use it. Forge domain, they get to make a magic item, armor, or weapon, so they have more flexibility there. And not only that, they can give it to someone else to use. Here, it's only useful for you. So if you go down, that weapon is useless. As the Forge domain cleric, they go down. You can pick up their magic weapon and use it if the party needed it. You have some flexibility there. So I feel like it kind of balances out. 5th level, we just get extra attack, which is, extra attack. Can't go wrong with that. If you're fighting, you want more attacks.
Runes of War at 9th level, you gain the ability to enhance your weapons of your squad, targeting the damage to the weakness of your enemies. As an action, you can activate an aura that extends from you in a 30-foot radius. The aura moves with you, centered on you, and lasts for 1 minute or until your concentration ends, as if you were concentrating on a spell. When you activate this aura, choose one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. Each creature of your choice in the aura deals an extra 1d4 damage of the chosen type when it hits with a weapon attack. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum once, and you regain all expended uses after a long rest. Man, I love this one. I was reading through this earlier, and I just see, this Artificer, enact this ability, and every one of the, their allies' weapons just begins to, sparkle and crackle with lightning, just dancing across the edge. Just very, very, imagination of evoking images. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely thematic, and like you said, it evokes a certain kind of imagery in your head when you think about it, and you can essentially do it to everyone in the party. And you're probably going to max out your intelligence, so 5 times a day, you're probably not going to get run out of uses for this, and it lasts a while, so it's kind of cool. Our capstone ability is at 15th level. Perfect weapon. 15th level, you learn how to imbue your Gaelsha Art with additional power and how to draw on it in a time of need. The first time you attack with your Gaelsha Art on your turn, you can transfer some or all of the bonus to your armor class instead of using the bonus on any attacks that turn. For every one you reduce your attack and damage roll by, you get a +1 to your AC. As long as you continue holding your Gaelsha Art, the AC bonus remains in effect until the start of your next turn. Additionally, when you finish a long rest, you can select one of the following benefits. Until you finish your next long rest, you gain the selected benefit whenever you're holding your Gaelsha Art. You have resistance to psychic damage, and you can't be charmed or frightened. You use your Gaelsha Art to channel the elements. When you select this ability, select one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder. When you hit with the Gaelsha Art, the target takes an extra die 6 damage of the chosen type. So you can have a defense ability, you have an offense ability. You can decide that you can use this to enhance your armor class instead of your attack and damage. Maybe this time you already have a +3 weapon that does cool stuff, and you don't really need it to attack and damage with. So instead, you shift it to armor class.
Yeah, turning it into a defending property is very, very useful. Being able to turn it into any of the elemental damages. Stacking Then you combine, the perfect weapon with the runes of war. I mean, if you know that, hey, my enemy is weak to fire, you could really be like, all right, my weapon does an extra d6 and d4 of fire. That's going to be super thematic. But if you're not sure, you can mix it up and, okay, well, I'm doing some of this, I'm doing some of that. So that's really fun, really, really cool things that you can do with that.
Something's got to get through.
Absolutely. But we're not done. We've got, another couple Artificer subclasses to look at. First up is the Maverick. In the world of Artifice, the Maverick is the jack of all trades and master of none. A Maverick is always experimenting with new designs, forever abandoning yesterday's work in pursuit of a new obsession. While often dismissed by other artificers as eccentric amateurs in their refusal to follow established tradition, a Maverick may stumble on remarkable breakthroughs, though their idiosyncratic techniques they rarely can be replicated by others. Arcane Breakthroughs. Starting at 3rd level, you gain amazing insights into spell effects beyond the reach of most artificers. Choose one of the following classes: Bard, Cleric, Druid, Paladin, Ranger, Sorcerer, Warlock, or Wizard. This class's spells become part of your breakthrough spell list. You can choose an additional class and its spells to your breakthrough spell at 5th, 9th, 13th, and 17th levels. When you change your list of prepared Artificer spells after a long rest, you can prepare an additional 1st level spell. The spell must be from your breakthrough spell list. When you reach certain levels in this class, you increase the number of breakthrough spells you can prepare. You can prepare an additional 2nd level spell at 5th level, an additional 3rd level spell at 9th, an additional 4th level spell at 13th, and an additional 5th level spell at 17th. These prepared spells don't count against the number of Artificer spells you prepare. When you cast a spell you prepared using this feature, it's considered to be an Artificer spell for you, and Intelligence is your spellcasting ability for it. When you swap a prepared breakthrough spell for a new spell, you lose any ongoing benefits from having cast it, such as Steed summoning from Fine Steed.
So, one of the places where I find this is kind of interesting is the Ranger spell list is fun to cherry pick because it's a 3rd caster. So generally the spells you can access tend to be a little bit stronger at the higher levels when they're like Ranger only spells. So like I instantly that's what I thought of. Like that's an area to go into where you can kind of get some really cool things, which are also really thematic for this particular build. Swift Quiver, anyone? So, but we're not done. We're gonna get some other abilities too. At 3rd level, we get Cantrip Specialist. You excel at producing minor magical effects and at abandoning your current projects to pursue new ideas. Starting at 3rd level, you gain the following benefits. One additional cantrip beyond what's normally allowed for an artificer of your level. When you finish a short rest, instead of when you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of the Artificer cantrips with another cantrip from your Artificer spell list or from your breakthrough spell list. This cantrip is considered an Artificer cantrip for you. So when it comes to cantrips, you have the ultimate flexibility.
That is super crazy, being able to change out your cantrips on a short rest. You haven't seen something like that. At best it's like, at a long rest I'll change some things out. It's like, nah, I got this. But Cantrip Servant. Starting at 5th level, you continue to develop your talent for the simplest of spells. You gain the following benefits. When casting an Artificer cantrip, you gain a +1 bonus to attack rolls and to your Artificer spell save DC unless your spellcasting focus grants a higher bonus. This bonus increases when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to +2 at 9th and +3 at 15th. Additionally, as an action, you can replace an Artificer cantrip with a different cantrip from your Artificer spell list or your breakthrough spell list. Once you use this feature, you must complete a long rest before you do it again. So, 2 levels difference, but man, forget that long rest thing. I'm going to switch this out now. I got this. Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, so you can kind of switch them out on the fly. You're going to get a bonus to your attack or your DC that will not stack with anything. I kind of like it and don't like that part because there are definitely magic items that increase the DC, and it's like, is that going to fall under the focus or not? Right. A Staff of Power is technically a focus, so I don't think it would apply, but Robes of the Magi, not a focus, so correct. I guess that applies. But there are several different items where it's like, oh, well, this is going to be useless when I'm using my cantrips, or vice versa.
So there's definitely, definitely some nuance there. I know 5th edition is not prone to, we're just going to add a flat number to something in class mechanics. And this is one that we feel, definitely breaks away from that traditional 5th edition mechanic. But all in all, unless you've got something that, is going to interfere with this, it's still a cool ability to have, and you're still getting something at 5th level, with this. So if you haven't gotten a magic item that's going to fill in that bonus, it's all good.
Yeah, you're covered. So 9th level, Superior Breakthrough. Starting at 9th level, when you cast one of the following spells you've prepared with arcane breakthroughs, as you can do so as if the spell was cast using a spell slot 2 levels higher than the spell slot you expend. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of 1. You gain all expended uses after you finish a long rest. So, you get a pump on your spells from that breakthrough, from that other class. You're going to cast them at higher levels. So you're really going to want to consider which ones you have, and you're going to want ones where that's effective.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Of like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna break through on my fireball at the moment, and as opposed to it being 3rd, it's gonna be 5th, or I bumped it to a 5th, so it's gonna really be a 7th. So it's definitely a lot of fun. I've experimented, mentally with this concept of, something that's going to allow you to pump beyond without actually expending the spell slot. So to see, somebody else thinking the same lines that I do, it's like, yay, that's cool. So I definitely like this ability. It's very thematic for this particular subclass and for the Artificer, who, is that half caster. So yeah, I'm totally digging that one.
Starting at 9th level, you can ready half-form projects for easy completion when needed. As an action, you can replace any prepared Artificer spell with any other spell from the Artificer spell list, which then counts as a prepared spell for you. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Again, on the fly, we're changing our spell list.
This is just the crazy. So this one is, this particular subclass is like your Artificer caster more than any of the other Artificers, and I really dig it.
Swiss Army knife, man. Swiss Army knife of spells.
I like the ability to, being able to, just exchange things out on the fly. They can, once they can do it with a short rest, then you've got the ability to exchange out a spell as an action from your breakthrough list, and then you can exchange out your Artificer, and that work in progress. You can use it. You can use a feature again after you finish a short or long rest. So, like multiple times a day, especially if you got a warlock in the party, you're gonna be able to trade things out. So this character is ready to be like, "Yep, I don't need that anymore. How about this? I don't need that anymore. How about this? I don't need that anymore. How about this?" It's really cool. But their final breakthrough at 15th level, you gain 1 additional spell slot of each spell level you can prepare. These spell slots can only be used to cast the bonus spells granted by your arcane breakthroughs. As you gain levels in this class and are able to prepare 5th level Artificer spells, you gain additional spell slots of that level. This character has got just the maximum, caster of any of the Artificers. I said it, it's just wow.
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like some of the other ones, like the Alchemist and the Artillerist, I believe they get access to more spells and more castings as well, and they're very specific. So it might so it probably does balance out a bit. Since we're covering Artificer subclasses, we're going to stick to that, but we will let you know there are 6 more infusions in here, so you're going to have some more options for your Artificer, no matter what subclass you go with. It's definitely in there. Just another thing to check out.
And there's a sidebar of replicate magic item additional items. And it's just just gives you a handful of other things that you could possibly make with your replicate magic item ability from Artificer. I think that's jam packed over just a simple 2.5 pages of Artificer love, but it's exploring Eberron. Eberron is known for the Artificer, so you couldn't really do that without adding some more Artificer options.
Most important, we saw that Dar love in there as well. But hey, you want our opinion on another subclass from Exploring Eberron? Then you can check out the discussion we did on about the Bard, College of the Dirge Singer, more Darlov. It's up there. Check it out.
And if you're looking for another place to grab some 5e content, you can always check out Nerdarchy the Patreon.
Not only do we have 5e content for DMs and players alike, we have patron-only weekly live chats, monthly giveaways our patrons are automatically entered in, and more.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.